Welcome back to Second and Short. It is Friday, April 18th, 2025. And as of today, the MLB home run leader is Tyler Soderstrom. The ERA leader is Chris Bassett. And that should tell you plenty about how absurd of a start the MLB season has had. The NFL draft is just 6 days away. 6. Not even a week away, which means that the third annual Second and Short Draft Night Special will be live right here on YouTube in less than 7 days as well, but we'll get to that in a moment. Champions League semifinal is set, and that did not come without some unreal results in the quarterfinals, especially the second legs that we'll be talking about today. And the Premier League, as usual, was shaken up once more last weekend and midweek, but Liverpool slowly tripping and falling into a league title while everyone else below them kind of just questioning the future of their club, unless you're in Newcastle, Aston Villa, or for some reason Wolves. I don't know why they're playing well right now, but Wolves is killing it down there in like 15th place. Luke, how you doing? The sports world has been set ablaze this week.
Yeah, much better. Got sick on Monday. Been kind of fighting like a weird cold, but I'm on the Sudafed and Flonase and Kroger brand Dayquil method right now.
Nice.
So we're killing it. But I feel much better today. I'm ready to talk baseball and all that we have in store.
Yeah, we've got a lot in store today, but before that, let's talk about the Draft Night Special next week, Thursday, April 24th. 2025, in case you were wondering what year it was. We will be live on YouTube for your amusement. It's really what it is. You're going to laugh at us while we make bad takes for 32 straight picks, and it'll be a blast.
Yeah.
Me, Luke, Colin, Mike, Nathan, all in person this year. Nobody's calling in. It's all going to be in person. All the reactions are going to be live. And yeah, I think it's going to be a blast. I'm working on some graphics that are going to get posted on the Instagram. I think Ethan's going to help us out with some of that. So we've got a lot of stuff in the works. The Draft Night Special is going to be great. As I just like sit alone in my room and like think of things I want to talk about football wise, I'm just putting them into a Word document. So if we just hit a lull, I could just throw one out there. So we've got a whole lot. Nathan's been cooking up some stuff for us to fill the dead air, and of course we will have plenty of things to talk about because it's draft night. And I will say this right now, for anybody that may have tuned in last year or in the first year, the first year was not live, and we had a bunch of different guests, and that was a blast, but it wasn't live. And also Mike was fantastic on the first one. And then Mike was like our saving grace on the first live one. Mike was only supposed to come on for like a couple of picks. We brought him on from the Falcons pick all the way through the end of the draft. And he was calling in the whole time, which was awesome. Now we've got him in person. All of us are in person. And I think it is going to be so much fun. I really do think it is going to be a blast. So I heavily urge you guys to check that out. Come watch the draft with us. Obviously, you can put the draft on your TV and you can see those suits talk about whatever they're going to talk about. But all you really need to do is pay attention to us. Put us on your phone and listen to us and watch them. I don't care what you do. It's going to be a fun time. Come play the games with us. Ask us questions in the comments. Get the conversation started. Just say things to make Colin or me or Mike or Luke mad about our franchises. I know that will be very easy to do considering the Falcons will do it themselves to me, Mike, and Colin. But yeah, the Draft Night Special is going to be a blast. Make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube and you turn on post notifications. Follow us on Instagram so you're up to date with everything leading up to the Draft Night Special. We've also got some mock drafts coming through. I'm already done. I called it with Mock Draft 2.0. I'm done. That's my final attempt. But Luke and Colin do have mock drafts coming before the draft. So we'll have the graphics, just no videos, but we'll have the graphics going out on Instagram and TikTok. So make sure you're following us on there. To see all of that stuff. Luke, anything to preview Mock Draft 2.0? I know it's not totally in the works just yet, but it's coming soon.
I really wanted to give you guys a video so bad. And then I got sick this week and just kind of like lost all motivation. Like Grayson, I was like barely doing my homework,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just barely getting through it. But we got through it school wise. I'm just sorry that I couldn't deliver my end of the bargain on my video. Being of like a actual God, I can't talk. I apologize for not doing a video of my mock draft 2.0. There we go.
I think we'll be
Finally got
just
it out.
fine. Everybody, he'll be making it up on the draft night special. I promise.
Yes.
I'm very excited for everybody to see our jerseys for the draft night special. I know that me and Colin are bringing some heat. I that's all I can speak for. But me and Colin are bringing some heat with our jerseys for the draft night special. Today we got an MLB recap, NFC East grades to round off all of our NFL season grades. We got Premier League to talk about, of course, Champions League quarterfinals, and we're doing our semifinal preview today because the semifinals are the week after the draft special. And obviously, we're not really going to want to talk soccer on the draft night special. And I'm going to be out of town over that weekend. So we won't really have much time to cover it. So we'll be previewing the semifinals a little bit today. And we'll round things out with questions time. Nathan sent us some more questions this week. Luke, anything that we need to cover? I hate that we just have to talk about like bad events every week. But thoughts and prayers go out to the Florida State students that were on campus today. There was a shooting at the student union.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful.
Yeah. I actually
Sucks.
I was in class while that news was breaking, and the girl who sits beside me actually had like her dad graduated from Florida State. She had multiple best friends that were at the university, and they were present at the time of the shooting. So really kind of felt it through her almost, but it's just it's horrible. And I'm interested to see kind of what news comes out of it. Obviously I don't know like any motives or like exactly like how things happen. We just kind of know right, wasn't it 5 people that lost their life?
I believe so.
Their lives. Yeah, absolutely tragic. So yeah, our condolences and prayers from Second and Short.
Yeah,
sure.
Obviously, Florida State family, Knowles for life right here. Shout out to Lee Corso as well. Announced his retirement. He's a Florida State Seminole as well.
Yeah, kind of weird that his last show will be week 1, right?
I like it.
Isn't that what it's going to be strange, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it is kind of strange to do a send-off for week 1, but also week 1 of College Game Day is like the best ratings that they get until like all the way at the end of the year.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of makes sense. All right. Is that everything we've got before we get into the MLB recap?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. It's time for the MLB recap. Luke's going to lead us off. What you got?
All right. The Cubs are not doing Shota Imanaga any favors. I saw a clip earlier this week where they dropped like 2 foul balls, and then Manny Machado just hits a home run.
Yeah.
What a bummer way to earn some runs there if you're Shota Imanaga. Next thing I got, the Astros mascot Orbit eating pizza with a fork and a knife to taunt Mets fans, or taunt the Mets. Thought that was
good.
Brilliant. Absolutely wonderful. How about Tanner Houck on Monday?
Yeah.
Why did they leave him in that game?
I don't know.
I got a quick run through of the stats here. 2.1 innings pitched. He gave up 10 hits, 12 runs, 10 of those earned, 2 walks, and a strikeout.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a gripe with why this stat line went viral. It went viral because people were calling it a triple-double. Yeah. We can't be calling it a triple-double if it's earned runs and runs.
Yeah, that's dumb.
I would get it if it was like hits, runs, and walks or strikeouts. But like that doesn't count. That's like saying it was a triple-double in basketball because you had 10 assists and like or not even 10 assists, like 10 points, 10 field goal attempts, and 10 assists. Like that.
And like 10 like free throws made.
Yeah. No, like that's so stupid.
Very stupid.
So I'm not counting that as a triple-double, but I do love that people were even talking about that performance at all because it was atrocious. Yep. Continue.
So Grayson, it's time to talk about Juan Soto. Very touchy
boy,
subject
can I.
for me.
I've got some notes on him. I'm glad to hop
I'm
in on
glad.
this.
So first of all, I want to talk about how much money he makes.
A lot.
Last night, Juan Soto made $320,000, just a little, and like some change, and 4 cents, literally some change. He went 0 for 5, 3 strikeouts, and a bases loaded ending double play. So
Not just a double play, an unassisted double play with 1 out, bases loaded to the second baseman.
Yeah.
Unassisted double play.
Thank you.
That's insane. He now leads the league in groundouts into double plays, by the way. National League. Sorry.
Yeah. I saw that you liked this on Instagram as well, so you know about this as well. And one at bat where Soto hit a home run and he did his little home run trot, which was 37 seconds. He made over $1,200. By the time he was at second base, he was at like $670. Which was absolutely crazy. But excuse me. Now to get into like the meat and potatoes, and I have a huge issue with this. Here's a quote from Juan Soto from earlier this week. In reference to not playing with Aaron Judge anymore. I wish I knew what the question was, but it's definitely different. I had the best hitter in baseball hitting behind me. I was getting more attacked and more pitches in the strike zone, less intentional walks and things like that. I was pitched differently last year. The only thing that I have to say to you, Juan Soto, about this is quit talking about the Yankees, you bum. You are getting paid so much fucking money because you are incredibly talented. Yeah. Quit bitching that you're not playing with Aaron Judge anymore, and it's now you're getting attacked maybe like less, and you're not able to hit the ball as much. But also, Pete Alonso is having a really good year this year.
Exactly.
So it makes you look even more bad that you're essentially saying that Aaron Judge is better than Pete Alonso when you're a Met and you're talking about a Yankee. And it's just not a good look for Juan Soto. So I want to get your thoughts on this.
Dude, I'm so glad you brought up the Pete Alonso point, because in as much as I would love to just totally disregard his existence whatsoever, if you haven't realized how good Pete Alonso is playing, I urge you to look up his Baseball Savant page and just look at those percentiles, because I'll just tell you this, in the batting category, nothing's under the 59th percentile. Then it's the 72nd, then it's the 81st, then the 89th. He's in the 99th or higher percentile in 5 categories. 5 categories. This guy is hitting unbelievable. Top 1% in exit velo. Top 2% in expected batting average. Top 1% in expected slugging. You literally cannot beat what he is doing right now. He is second in the NL in RBIs. He's got 5 home runs. He's got 8 doubles. It's unbelievable. He's got the best NL OPS at 1,200. Juan Soto cannot complain that he's hitting in front of Pete Alonso, so he's getting pitched differently, because Pete Alonso's doing what Aaron Judge did last year. Like, literally to a T. And also, for Soto, you're batting .231, which is awful for him. His on-base percentage is .367, which is his career low, by the way. He's never been, for a full season, under 400. He's only got 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, and like I brought up earlier, he leads the National League in groundouts into double plays.
This dude wanted a press box at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But yeah, complaining about getting pitched to differently is maybe like the lowest of lows for a guy who is a perennial MVP candidate and just got paid an ungodly amount of money.
You never hear Mike Trout talking about his teammates, and he doesn't have any.
Shohei
he just
one
is
time.
Good.
You don't think Shohei was like, I hate hitting ahead of Mike Trout?
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about?
Unbelievable.
So stupid.
Absolutely.
And you don't hear any of the Dodgers players complaining.
Yeah.
Because you can't pitch around them. You can't pitch around Juan Soto either. But if he's going to play bad, he's going to look bad.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. I think Soto's such a loser.
Yeah. The last thing that I have is the Yankee game last night was absolutely wonderful. It was a 4-3 win over the Kansas City Royals, which is it's very nice to come back to the podcast and now be able to talk about like we're having a good series against a playoff worthy team, not just getting whipped up on by the Tigers. So very nice series that the Yankees had against the Royals. Kind of like the Braves, who had Strider return yesterday as we're recording this. Clark Schmidt pitched last night. He was okay. He was just okay.
About the same as how I feel about Strider.
Yeah, but I'll give it to him. It was good to see him, come back. But how about Cody Bellinger's game-winning diving catch?
That was sick.
Out of right field. Absolutely sick. And what's even crazier is just like there was so many clips of him like walking around the outfield. And if hopefully you're watching on YouTube so you can see me doing this, but he's just just looking around. He's so goofy. But really cool moment that I thought was just really sick after Cody Bellinger's catches. So after every home game win, the Yankees obviously play New York, New York by Frank Sinatra. The song literally begins right after like the result of the game. So like Cody Bellinger's on the ground, like holding up the baseball, and New York, New York is playing behind him. I just thought that was so cool. And my last thing, Cody Bellinger, please never stop smoking weed.
Yeah, he's gotta be. There's no way he's not.
Hasn't he only played in like places where it's legal as well? Pretty sure.
I mean, yeah, California, Illinois, and New York. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it legal in New York? It is?
It is.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
I always hear about like places getting busted for selling it. I think it's because there's places that sell it that aren't allowed. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
I know nothing about that subject. Was that your last thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Over to you.
Yeah, let's talk about Jackie Robinson Day. That was on Tuesday, one of the best days of the year for MLB fans, especially MLB historians as well. But wanted to give a shout out to a couple guys for the gear. I mean, obviously everybody wore 42, but Jazz Chisholm wearing the old school baggy short pants. They looked so awesome. Those are great. And Jose Trevino had some beautiful Jackie Robinson catcher gear. You never really see a catcher sporting a number on catcher's gear, which did look a little bit odd on TV. I'll say that. But got to give some respect for that catcher's gear because it looked pretty sick. Oh, yeah. I do have some just interesting stories about Jackie Robinson Day. I'll just say this now. I don't feel like getting into this whole conversation that's going on with the MLB and how they're changing their wording around Jackie Robinson Day. It's touchy. It's a touchy subject for some reason. It doesn't have to be, but some people approach it that way, and I understand why. It's just unfortunate. But I'm not going to get into that topic. Yeah, I mean, it's not worth talking about. I'll just leave it at that. It's just the MLB trying to manage risk, in my opinion. But I don't need to have an opinion on the matter. Ken Griffey, he's the one that Ken Griffey Jr., by the way, is the one that started the tradition of wearing 42 on Jackie Robinson Day. So on the day that Bud Selig, the MLB commissioner, announced that they were going to retire the 42 jersey, which was April 15th. I believe it was 1997. It was the 50th anniversary of Jackie breaking the color barrier. And on that day, Ken Griffey got permission from the Mariners and from the MLB to wear 42 instead of 24. He wore it for just that game. And him and a few other black players around the league did it that year and for a few more years. And then it became an individual option for everybody after that. So you could choose to wear it or not. And then in 2009 is when they made the decision for everybody who wears a uniform. So that's players, coaches, staff. All of them wear the number 42 on April 15th. And if it's a travel day, they typically extend it to the second day as well.
Yeah, I think it's one of the coolest traditions. I love Jackie Robinson Day. I
Yeah.
wish that it fell more on a weekend, though. I kind of hated that it was on a weekday this
I mean,
time.
it's how dates work, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
My other story I've got here, and I'll try and keep it relatively brief or at least move through it quickly. MLB player all time. That's what I'll say about Mark Sagmoen, who nobody's heard of before. He made his MLB debut on April 15th, 1997, which is the day that they retired that jersey. But he was with the Rangers, and he was randomly issued the number 42 when he got called up that day. And he got his jersey retired in the middle of the game. He was drafted by the Rangers in 93, got up in 97. He debuted on April 15th, and he thought that they were just going to give him a random number. And when he got to the clubhouse, they gave him 42. And he found out about the retirement ceremony while he was in the on-deck circle for his second at bat. And he was told by a teammate that he would have to take off his jersey. And they gave him a different jersey in the middle of the game and shipped that jersey to Cooperstown that he was wearing.
That is insane.
Yeah. He also, went hitless in this game. It was his debut. Did get a bases-loaded walk in a win. And he was actually given the option to keep 42. They were going to grandfather him in. But I guess he was a big baseball historian himself and spent the rest of his career wearing 37.
Nice.
Yeah. Other fun facts just about Mark Sagmoen as well. Shout out to the Redditor that posted this. He said the fourth player in MLB history whose first MLB hit was an inside the park home run, which happened 2 days after this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh,
Absolutely insane. Yeah. But yeah, shout out Mark Sagmoen. I think I'm saying that right. Yeah. I love Jackie Robinson Day. Jackie Robinson, obviously an icon of baseball, and wouldn't have a league like we do right now if it weren't for him. That is for sure.
Very true. Yeah.
All right, let's go to maybe the opposite sentiment of Jackie Robinson Day. The bench is cleared in Pittsburgh between the Pirates and the Nationals. They sure did. A little bit of backstory on this one. On Tuesday, Mitch Keller hit Paul DeJong in the face with a pitch, clearly accidental, by the way, but he hit him in the face and fractured his nose, put DeJong on the IL. I think it's just the 10-day, but still, I mean, that sucks for the Nationals, who are kind of struggling to get hitters to hit the ball outside of James Woods. And then Jorge Lopez, not the good one, the reliever for the Nationals, then hit Brian Reynolds. This was on Wednesday. Hit Brian Reynolds, then threw at McCutcheon's head and missed, luckily.
That was crazy.
Yeah, and then the bench is clear. Nothing really happened while people were on the field. Jorge Lopez and Davey Martinez get ejected. That's the manager for the Nationals, in case you didn't know. And once this all concludes, Andrew McCutcheon proceeds to get walked, and that loads the bases, and Oniel Cruz hits his first career grand slam. I mean, what a culmination. It just make it very evident that the Pirates won this one. You break their guy's nose, then the guy doesn't even hit your guy in the head. He gets walked, and then they hit a grand slam, and both their guys get ejected. Lopez going to get a 3-game suspension that he's appealing. Davey Martinez got a 1-game suspension. He's not allowed to appeal because he's a manager, so he will not be the manager today as we're speaking. But,
wow.
Yeah, I love when bench is clear, but it's way more fun when something actually happens with that part of it. Because nothing happened once the bench is cleared.
No.
I need Pedro Martinez pushing over old men. That's that's what I need every time the bench is clear. I need it every time. That guy. Or I need Yasiel Puig trying to take on a whole team just by himself.
Yeah.
That's an
that
awesome one.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Ruben Odor giving Bautista the hook.
Yeah, I mean, that one's always, Jose Ramirez knocking the baseball ability out of Tim Anderson.
Yeah, completely.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
When you look at the splits, pre that and post that, it's damning. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Spencer Strider.
Some brain damage in there.
Spencer Strider looked pretty good in his return to the mound, but not great. I mean, 5 strikeouts, 5 innings, 2 runs. I'm not that mad. But unfortunately, the Braves cannot hit. For the first time in 376 days, this is just a stupid stat I saw. In Strider's first time pitching in 376 days, he gave up Vlad Jr.'s first home run in 209 days.
Wow.
Yeah, but Vlad Jr. did home run. But the more annoying part of this was that in that game, Michael Harris and Austin Riley were the first 2 batters in the lineup, which is already a problem. In my eyes, that should not be how it's lining up, but whatever. And also, for the first time in Braves history, the first 2 batters in the order went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts.
Damn.
Yeah. Shout out to Chris Bassett, who was on the mound. We'll get to his start in a moment. But biggest winner of this series in Toronto is Wiley Ballard, sideline reporter for the Braves.
Yep.
Honestly, a historic moment. I hate that it's getting even a little bit of hate. I think that's a little bit more of a loud minority of the people. I think the quiet majority, honestly, the vast majority of people, I don't know if it's necessarily quiet, think this is hilarious and very funny. If you hate it, sorry. If you don't, it's unbelievably funny. And if you take it as lighthearted as I think everybody in that situation did, it's very fun. It's just a hilarious scenario. I also do think that it was misinterpreted by Wiley. I think that what Brandon Gaudin said was we need to get the numbers up. Speaking about turning these 2 girls into Braves fans and going around the stadium making people Braves fans. And instead, I think Wiley thought he said you need to get their numbers, which was it made for maybe one of the more funny sideline reporter moments that we'll get all season.
Yeah. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah,
it was great.
I think it was great.
It was just such a baseball play-by-play moment, very typical of the sport.
And also like Brandon Gaudin loves a very good sexual innuendo on the broadcast. I'll say that. He loves a good sexual innuendo on the broadcast. And while they're kind of wrapping up that moment, he was like, there's a whole lot of things we could say that could get us all in trouble. So we'll stick to the baseball.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Brandon Gaudin is not afraid of getting a little crazy in the booth. And same for CJ Nitkowski.
He's almost too good at the sexual innuendos.
He is.
Like, it's kind of scary.
The Mastroboni thing like a year ago was unbelievable. I love Brandon Gaudin. He's great. Speaking of great, we were talking about how bad Juan Soto was, and I had it in my notes, and I was going to parlay it into how good Aaron Judge is. Wow. The numbers for Judge this season are unbelievable. He literally leads the league in the entire slash line. Batting average, on-base percentage, slugging, and OPS. Unbelievable. He also leads the league in hits, B-WAR, total bases, intentional walks, and leads the AL in runs scored and RBIs.
Shout out.
It is incredible what Aaron Judge is up to start the year.
Really excited for him to be the captain of the USA team in the World Baseball Classic, too.
Yeah,
it's going to be awesome.
And the Puerto Rico captain is going to be Francisco Lindor. So we've already got a Bronx rivalry there.
Yeah.
All right. Next thing, Tyler Soderstrom. Speaking of leaders, Tyler Soderstrom just can't be stopped. And for some reason, it's kind of hurting the Athletics. But first, I'd like to talk about why Tyler Soderstrom is killing it. He's got 8 home runs. And what's crazier about his 8 home runs, other than the fact that most people didn't know who he was before this year, is that he's now the 5th player in MLB history to have 3 multi-home run games through the first 17 games of a season. So he's gotten 6 of his home runs in 3 of the games they've played this year.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's outstanding. But the reason his performance is kind of hurting the Athletics is that he was initially a catcher. When he came up, he started playing first base because they have Shea Langoliers behind the plate. They have also had some good performances out of their corner outfielders like Lawrence Butler, and like Brent Rooker was playing outfield just to see what would happen. Like they're trying everything out right now because Last year's 4th overall pick, Nick Kurtz, is one of the best hitters in the minor leagues. So last year after he got drafted, he was outstanding. Started the year, first full year in professional baseball, started the year in AAA. He is hitting .348 with 7 home runs, 22 RBIs in 16 games in AAA. And a team like the Athletics, you can't just sit on that. I mean, he's got to come up. He has to come up. But there is simply not a spot because Nick Kurtz is a first baseman. And you can't take the leader in home runs out of his position.
No.
It's unreal, this predicament that the Athletics have found where their team is too talented right now. And all the wrong spots, I guess. I mean, they're certainly missing at some other positions, but it's very funny that they're running into a predicament of not being able to pull up an outstanding player.
Wow.
Next thing, Alex Bregman had a hell of a night. First 5-hit game of his career, had 2 runs in the game. But what's crazier is that it was the last game he was going to play before going on paternity leave for a couple days. He's about to have a kid.
Wow.
So that's good way to send off the Red Sox for a couple days. Just be like, all right, I did my thing. Now you guys pick up the dead weight while I'm gone. The Reds
that's a cool
had
story, though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
First 5-hit career game right before he's about to have a kid. That's awesome.
Yeah. The Reds got some good news. They brought back 3 guys from the IL, and they're all big additions to this lineup and to the pitching staff. Matt McClain comes back to be at second base. Alexis Diaz comes back to take back the closer spot. And Austin Hayes, who's just now getting to play. He started this year on the IL for the Reds in his first year with them. Got off to a hot start, too. A go-ahead 3-run home run in his first game for the Reds. So good start for Austin Hayes. And the Reds are doing something, man. I know I've talked about Hunter Green on every single episode since the MLB season started. Actually, before because of awards predictions. But he's killing it. If you go back to, I believe, June of last year, he's got a 1 ERA. That's unbelievable.
And he's a starting pitcher.
Yeah, unreal. Lot to look forward to in Cincinnati this season. I will say that. Over in Seattle, Cal Raleigh, second player in MLB history to homer from both sides of the plate in the same game to record his 100th career home run. So his 99th and 100th career home run came from opposite sides of the plate in the same game.
Damn.
Shout out the switch hitting catchers out there. That's such an insane, just insanely good thing to have in your lineup.
Yeah.
A switch hitting catcher is huge. Shout out Cal Raleigh and I guess Adley Rutschman because he's also one. But what's interesting is he is the second player to do this, like I said. The first player was Todd Hundley, who was a Met, and he was also a catcher.
No way.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Wow.
Absolutely insane. I decided I'd seen so many pitching performances this week that I wanted to talk about to just sort them into bad pitching this week and good pitching this week. And so here's who pitched bad this week. Former All-Star German Marquez for the Rockies against the Dodgers. 0.2 innings pitched, 6 hits, 7 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, 2 home runs on just 37 pitches.
Oh, no.
Yeah, not a good one for German Marquez. And in the same game, Bobby Miller, who started for the Dodgers, had quite the run support and used all of it. He pitched 3 innings, gave up 8 hits, gave up 6 runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, gave up 2 home runs, 84 pitches for Bobby Miller. But that's insane, those two going head-to-head in that game. Unbelievable. Yeah. Good old Charlie Morton. I'm sorry you are in this section today, Charlie. Against the Guardians, 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, and the ERA goes up to an 8.84. glad he is not a Brave right now. I will just say that. And
He would
we
not
already
be
talked
helping.
about Tanner Houck or whatever the hell it is. But his ERA is now up to an 8.68. So shout out to Tanner for that awful pitching performance. Now here's who pitched well this week. Michael King versus the Rockies. God damn. 9 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, 110 pitches for the complete game shutout. It's a hell of a day.
I think that was his first
Michael
one,
King.
too.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Sonny Gray looking good for the Cardinals for no reason. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk on 92 pitches against the Astros. Shane Baz versus the Red Sox. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 11 strikeouts against that Red Sox lineup. Tarek Skubal, damn good day against the Brewers. 7 innings pitched, no runs, 4 hits, no walks, 9 strikeouts on 91 pitches. And also, bottom of the 6th, bases loaded, 2 outs, hits 100 miles per hour for the strikeout in the bottom of the 6th. That's outstanding.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Two consecutive scoreless starts for him, going across 13 innings, getting his ERA down to 2.66, which isn't great, but I mean, he had 1 bad start to start the year and gotten right back on track. Got a couple more. Jake Irvin against the Pirates for the Nationals. 7 innings pitched, no runs, 6 strikeouts, 3 hits, and 1 walk. Jake Irvin, nobody really talking about him. Tyler Mahle, he was the current ERA leader, at least. He's not anymore. Chris Bassett took that spot. Tyler Mahle got his 3rd win of the year. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, no runs, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks. Brought that ERA down to 0.92.
Damn.
So many guys just killing it. And I'll round this one out with Chris Bassett versus the Braves. 5 innings pitched, no earned runs, 10 strikeouts, 3 hits, 2 walks. And in that same game, the Blue Jays pitching staff struck out a franchise record 19 batters in that game.
Jesus.
Yeah. Shout out to Austin Riley and Michael Harris for 8 of those between the 2 of them. Yeah. Love it. I love it. That's why I'm repping the Braves big time today. We need that good energy. Playing on Apple TV tomorrow. You
That's
always
not good.
need good energy when you're going to be playing on Apple TV that weekend. Byron Buxton, really good on the base paths to start the year. I know we've been talking about this, and we talked about it a little bit in our AL Central preview, but like we weren't sure if Buxton was kind of going to be able to get back to where he once was. On the base paths, he's killing it. He is 2nd in the AL with 15 runs scored, despite having only 16 hits or walks.
I love to hear that for him.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, he is 4 for 4 on steals. He's 2nd to Bobby Witt only in AL sprint speed, and he has scored 85% of the time he has gotten on base.
Wow.
That is an incredible stat for Byron Buxton.
Crazy story about Byron Buxton. This is going to make you and I feel really old. I went up to Minnesota in 2016, and I visited a Dick's Sporting Goods. And anytime you walk into like a sporting goods store in Georgia, it's like all Acuna, right, for the Brave stuff. Yeah. In Minnesota, it was all Byron Buxton, and that was like 9 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, he's
wild.
Kind of still the guy.
Yeah, I love him. He's great. I wish he was healthy more.
Me too. We talked about this storyline early on, probably right before the season started, with the Astros bringing up Cam Smith, who was their 1st-round draft pick out of Florida State last year. And just hasn't been a great start for him, but they won't send him back down. And I don't like it. It's weird. Kind of. They need him in the lineup because he plays good defense, but he's hitting 205 with a 279 on-base percentage and a 333 slugging. And they've gotten a little bit better from where they were at those marks, which is not good. But he was clearly rushed up to the big leagues it just seems like none of the Astros staff is willing to admit that. And that is not good for a young player. To just come up and have your confidence just robbed from you, and then they're just going to make you keep doing it night in and night out.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all.
Not good, no.
It's definitely not for one of my Seminoles as well. We also had an odd moment. First base umpire Hunter Wendelstedt got smoked by a line drive. Had to get taken out of the game.
Who hit it?
I'm not sure. I didn't actually see the video. I heard that the guy got hit and had to leave the game.
Oh, gotcha. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy that he had to leave the game, though.
Yeah, you don't really ever think about that sometimes. I mean,
it does happen.
Yeah, it happens relatively often. Umpires getting hit, but not typically a line drive off the bat. It's simply like something happening in the field. Like that Edmundo Sosa throw, I think is who it was for the Cardinals, where he just like flips over and just totally misses and just beams that umpire. It's crazy. I want to talk a little bit about some just oddities I found in the standings. A few days ago, every AL West team was 5-5 in their last 10 games.
Weird.
Yeah, they've all been weird. All of those teams are so weird.
That sounds like
now.
the AL West, though.
Yeah, it's been a mess in their in that division. In the NL West, it's like the opposite. 4 of the teams in the NL West have a 600+ winning percentage. 3 of them have a 700+ winning percentage. And the Padres, this is crazy, just the other day lost their first home game of the year against the Cubs. And it was the first time in their 12 home games that they had to bat in the 9th inning.
Oh my, what?
Yeah, they didn't have to come back and win any of their home games.
Dude, Fernando Tatis has been like someone needs to pour a bucket of water on him because he's on fire.
Test him again.
On fire.
That's all I'll say. Just test him. Can't have these guys. Can't have these guys not getting tested by the Padres and then becoming Braves.
Yeah.
And also in that division, the Rockies are the big outlier out of that division. They own the worst record in baseball at 3-15. They have the league's lowest pitching strikeout rate and the league's highest batting strikeout rate. That's not a recipe for success. And also they are 7 games out of 4th place. There isn't a team in baseball that's more than 6 games out of 1st other than the Rockies.
Damn.
Yeah.
Their new City Connect jerseys look pretty cool, though.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. City Connect jerseys, not too bad so far.
No.
I don't love the Nationals one. I think the first Nationals one was better, but.
Oh, did they change the cherry blossom?
Yeah, they got a new one. It's not as good.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's horrible compared to their last one.
Yeah. The cherry blossom was great. I think that hat is like an iconic style.
I mean, I do like all of the like roads and stuff. I think like the map concept is pretty cool, but you can't really top like you can't top the cherry blossom. But I mean, their hat's still gonna pay homage to it.
Yes.
But that's about it.
I got a couple things, kind of off the field things. Both of them actually just have to do with the Cubs, interestingly enough. Some MLB executives believe that it's unlikely that Kyle Tucker's going to sign an in-season extension with the Cubs, which could be a problem because if the Cubs don't extend him and he leaves, that's going to be like an all-time horrendous trade.
Yeah.
Like, we all kind of expected that they were going to get a deal done as soon as like that trade went through. Nothing happened. And there's not much to show for it as of right now. And I mean, if Kyle Tucker doesn't re-sign, and he just walks, that's going to be awful.
Yeah, and that's a guy that you don't want to lose. He's franchise caliber player.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree with that quote there. That it would be an all-time terrible trade. That's what a National League executive said. That was the quote. If they don't extend him, it will go down as an all-time terrible trade.
That's wild that
Yeah,
someone of his position is giving his thoughts like that.
that's pretty awesome.
But I mean, he's right.
Yeah, and then the other thing that the Cubs struck out on, which is maybe a sign of how they're handling things this offseason or this season. Pete Crow Armstrong just turned down a contract extension.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's 23 years old, still pre-arbitration. Turned down a deal that would have only maxed out at $75 million if all the options were exercised. So that's what Christian Campbell just got. Over 6 years was $75 million, I think. Or no, 9? Was it 9 years, 75 for Christian Campbell? It was something real
I think it was
low.
9. I think it was 9.
Yeah. And Pete Crow Armstrong turned it down.
Wow. See, that's weird to me because I feel like if you're a Cub, like if you get drafted as a Cub, which Pete Crow Armstrong was, right?
No, I think he was
feel
drafted
like-
as a Met. Could be wrong.
But didn't he played minor league with the Cubs, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like that would be a hard team to lose or to, not re-sign with if you're already there. Like I feel like like a Cub would be a good team to be a part of.
Yeah, he was drafted by the Mets
That's
in the
weird.
first round in 2020 out of Harvard Westlake. Very, very prestigious team, by the way.
Wow.
Shout out Max Fried, Jack Flaherty, and Lucas Giolito, who all played there together. But yeah, I think Pete is probably just trying to gamble on himself here. I mean, they've still got a couple more years of control.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about being a young player is that you can improve a lot in a short amount of time, typically, especially compared to
true.
older guys in the league. So, I mean, if he just starts lighting it up, then the end of the year comes around and you might be looking at like a 60 million plus shift in that money.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
we'll have to see, but we'll see if the gamble pays off. The only other stuff I had was about Judge and Lindor being the captains for the WBC, which we already covered.
Awesome.
Any other MLB stuff that we need to touch on?
I don't think so. Exciting week though.
Yes.
Jackie Robinson Day and then all the happenings. It was a good week.
Yeah, it was. I'm looking forward to the week. Oh, let's look at the matchups. We haven't done this. I don't know why we've just been not doing this season.
Yeah.
Talk about some matchups that are going on this weekend.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Twins Braves is ass. I'll say that. I mean, Chris Paddock versus Bryce Elder on Apple TV Plus, if anybody cares. Diamondbacks Cubs is electric. That's a great series right now. Love those two.
Yeah.
Guardians Pirates could be interesting. Pirates are kind of fun right now. I think we'll get a Skeens start this weekend as well. Royals Tigers is good.
Padres
Reds,
Astros.
Orioles. Yeah, Padres Astros. Reds Orioles I like as well with how those two teams are playing. Mariners Blue Jays could
I'm excited
be
for the Yankees to be back at Steinbrenner Field.
Yeah, it's kind of a
spring
home
training
game.
again. It is.
Dodgers Rangers is not bad. Giants Angels, low key. Very low key, good matchup. Logan Webb versus Tyler Anderson on Friday in that one. That's one to watch.
Love that.
Yeah. If anybody's trying to stay up past midnight, that one starts at 9:38 p.m. on MLB Network.
I'm gonna be honest, dude. Like Liga MX, and now that like baseball's going, there's nothing better than it's just shit TV on like a weekday, really late at night. But now you have baseball. It's awesome. I love like the late night games. I think it's great.
Oh, it's so good, so good.
Yeah.
It's a good way to just like have something calm to like wind down the night on.
You're exactly right. Yeah.
So nice.
Definitely.
All right. I think that's going to do it for the MLB recap, and we're going to get into our NFC East grades. Quick coffee break. Now we're going to get into the NFC East grades. This was a hell of a division last year, by the way. And
this is the Jaden Daniels segment. This is we're not talking about any other teams. It's just going to be Jaden Daniels.
I mean, I wouldn't mind skipping the Giants, but that is where we're going to start. Is with the New York Giants. I was going to be nice. I gave them an F.
I gave them an F+.
I honestly, I think an F might be nice. Malik Neighbors, Tyrone Tracy, Wando Robinson. Thank you for making this team good enough to like air on TV. That's about as good as it gets.
I don't want to leave out Tyler Newman. Tyler Newman was a
good.
very good.
I'm talking
rookie
offense.
That they
I'm talking
drafted.
offense.
That's fair. That's fair.
But shout out to those three on the offense for making this team fine enough to watch. And also shout out to this team for beating the Seahawks. Why'd they do that?
That's a great question. Oh man.
This is like this is unbelievable to see what it's like to watch a team make all the wrong moves in free agency.
Oh man.
I mean,
unbelievable.
Saquon and Xavier McKinney leave in the same offseason and go on to be top 3 players at their position the next season at their new with their new teams. And the players you did sign were garbage except for trading for Brian Burns.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yep.
It's going to take a hell of an offseason from here on out. A hell of a draft, really, because they didn't really make that great of signings. Not bad signings, but not great. It's going to take quite a 360 for Joe Shane and Brian Dable to keep their jobs.
I think it's 100% Travis Hunter.
Well,
I would love to see him end up here.
If he ends up there, it would be great. But
yeah,
last season, not fun. Really. Malik Neighbors is enticing, but with that kind of quarterback play, nothing can be entertaining. I mean, Daniel Jones played 10 games for this team before getting cut, which tells you a lot of the story, and remained the passing leader by 1,000 yards at the end of the season.
And touchdown leader.
Yeah. That's a problem.
As well, with eight touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah, and luckily none of the 3 quarterbacks that played are going to be the quarterback this season, unless some awful world where Russell Wilson and Jameis get hurt and Tommy DeVito does get in the game. Just please don't happen. Yeah, this team was so awful. I mean, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence were fun to watch together, and I hope that they will continue to be. But
yep.
I wish there was a corner to talk about. There's not.
Deontay Banks was a total miss.
Yeah.
They were 7th in the NFL in sacks, though. Kind of impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they have a pretty good defensive line. Like I said, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau did his thing. I think he had like 5.5. But like, not a bad team when it comes to the pass rush. It's just they were pass rushing, and then the quarterback could throw to whoever the fuck he wanted to.
Yeah, they were 8th in passing yards against per game, but they were 31st in interceptions with only 5 on the entire season.
Bad.
That is wild.
5 interceptions.
Absolutely
is awful.
wild.
Meanwhile, Xavier McKinney had 8.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Kirby Joseph had 9.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, I think would you say that there's even a blueprint here? I like there's some players that that I really enjoy on this team.
Neighbors, Robinson, and Tracy on the offense can be great with the right quarterback.
Yeah.
And I will say, I think Russ might be the right quarterback for Neighbors and Robinson. I can't totally buy in on Tyrone Tracy being a great running back yet.
Interesting.
He's given me just like a little bit. And Tyrone Tracy's a much better player than this guy I'm about to say, but he's given me a little bit of Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah.
Where it's like he showed up out of nowhere. Like me and you talked about him before the season just because like he was an interesting guy to talk about. But like we didn't have that high of expectations. He certainly blew our expectations out of the water. But will it sustain is really the tough part. And I mean, we see this a lot with running backs in particular, is low drafted running backs or undrafted running backs show up out of nowhere in year one. and just light it up. And then that's kind of it. Think about Damon Pierce is the same scenario. A guy like that.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, like it.
Yeah, and he was a high draft pick, right? Like second round?
Kind of, yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah. But like there's a lot of rookie running backs show up, light it up, and they just regress from there. And I don't want that to be the case here for Tyrone Tracy, but I can't say that I'm not afraid it will be.
That's a good point, because I mean, I don't really see like a draft plan of them getting like very serviceable offensive linemen, because they still need like weapons.
Yes.
They still need like cornerbacks and like wide receivers. So yeah, I don't know. It's not looking good for Tyrone Tracy, but I'm hoping that he can stay pretty, I'm hoping that he can stay trending up, because he's very entertaining.
Yeah. Well, back to last season. Anything that like stuck out to you with them? Because like, I mean, it like I said, it was almost unwatchable football when it came down to some of this stuff. And I think a lot of that, unfortunately, has to do with Brian Dable at the forefront of it. I think you got real lucky in year one. And you got unlucky in year two. Year three was a dumpster fire.
For sure. I mean, I think really the only thing that we can say mutually that stood out was Malik Neighbors, who had just over 1,200 receiving yards, and he only played 15 games too. Like genuinely, for not only being a rookie, he was just one of the best wide receivers in the entire league.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, I mean this division's good. A good representation of how good LSU was in this draft class.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anything else for the Giants? I mean, they just sucked. That's
no. Again, they get an F+ from me, only because they had just super entertaining players to watch, but they were absolute dumpster fire.
They tried to make me not want to watch them. I'll say that.
Yeah.
All right. The third place Cowboys. I gave them a C-. I'm cutting them a little bit of slack when your big money quarterback only plays 8 games. It really like 7.5.
Yep. I'm gonna give you a fist bump there, because we had the same grade.
I love it. I love
Cowboys.
it. The only issue though about Dak getting hurt in the 8th game of the year is that going into that game they were 3-4.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
really good point.
They weren't doing great, and they were coming off of, I believe it was back-to-back losses. And then they played the game against the Falcons where he got hurt. And then they lost the next 2 as well. They went through a 5-game losing streak in the middle of the year.
Well, you remember too, like even week 1 at Cleveland, like they won 33-17, but Cleveland looked like absolute dog shit, and the Cowboys really didn't even look that great.
Yeah, I can't figure out how after Dak got hurt, they beat the Commanders. They also beat the Buccaneers earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Which
I'm still upset about that fucking Steelers game. That I cannot believe we lost to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And shout out to Cooper Rush, but like it's so weird.
Yeah. Also that game against Atlanta was pretty brutal to watch. I was watching it with my dad, who is a Cowboys fan. He's been one my whole life. Yeah, I'm kind of getting tired of having to emotionally support him as his son, watching Cowboys games with him.
Yeah, I'm glad you added that watching Cowboys game part, because I was about to be like, damn, like what did he do to you?
Yeah, no. I've grown up watching Cowboys games. Yeah, I've grown up watching plenty of Cowboys games with my dad, which is really fun. I cannot really ever hate the Cowboys just because of my dad. But I know my dad really hates the Philadelphia Eagles. That's probably his least favorite team in the NFL. They scored 13 points in their 2 meetings against the Philadelphia Eagles. Just got ran through both times they played them, which is not a good look.
Yeah, it wasn't good. CeeDee Lamb still found a way to be outstanding with Dak getting injured still. I mean, he was still very good. Props to you for your take on Jalen Tolbert, though.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. But yeah, CD Lamb, I've never seen a wide receiver take as many hits as him as I did last season. He was just
Yeah.
getting shit on.
I think the tough part for CD Lamb is that when he's on the field, especially last season, it was pretty obvious the ball was going to him. And you couldn't stop him from catching it, but you could stop him from continuing.
Yeah.
And that's what kept happening.
I think for me, one of the most heartbreaking injuries of 2024 was definitely Overshown. He was one of the best linebacker seasons I've ever seen from someone who I didn't even really know. This dude played only 13 games. He was second in tackles for them, and I think second in sacks as well.
He was unreal.
He was third in sacks, but yeah, that was an injury that I just did not like to watch because he was lighting it up. He was having an amazing season.
Did he have a couple picks or fumble recoveries or something as well?
Eric Kendricks had 2 interceptions, and he was the tackle leader. If you're thinking of him,
maybe.
But shout out him. He's another one of those kind of older middle linebackers that's just still doing his thing in the league. So
remember when that was their only pickup? That's all they did to start free agency. Also, of course, Micah Parsons was great. Even though he played 13 games, he still had 12 sacks. It just
he was the sack leader as well.
Let's just say that again. Pay him, or don't.
Please pay him,
or don't let him leave. It'd be cool.
Gosh, yeah, it's just Dak Prescott is such a weird case. Like, do you pay him or do you not pay him? Like, do you go a different route?
Dak or Micah?
Dak.
Dak's already paid.
I know he's already paid, but he's just kind of one of those guys where there's very valid arguments against paying him, but there's also valid arguments in paying him.
The issue is that they're paying him $60 million a year.
And that's another thing is just the quantity.
Nobody's taking that off their hands, so they've got to stick it out with him.
Yeah.
Let's be real here. I don't want to dive too deep in this conversation. Dak Prescott is not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And you're paying him $60 million a year.
Yeah.
That's not good. That is not good.
No.
At all. Overarching things for the Cowboys. Tough break for Mike McCarthy. Especially firing him late into the coaching hiring process. That was pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I
think it's a tough break for him. Obviously, I mean, if you want to get our takes on Jerry Jones as a leader, go back and listen to some episodes during the free agency. Go back to listen to some episodes nearing the end of the year for the Cowboys. I mean, we had our words for Jerry. Go back to the episode when they hired Brian Schottenheimer, and you will hear all you need to hear about our opinions on Jerry Jones.
Yeah, Grayson and I pretty much sit in the same chair on that one. But going back to what you said, overarching, kind of feelings about the Cowboys, 7-10 was amazing, through the injuries that they had, I thought.
Yeah.
They had some really bad losses though, but all in all, I think the Cowboys showed a lot of fight. I don't know, I really respected that. It's just it's a bummer that Jerry Jones is their owner at the end of the day.
And GM. That's the real problem.
And GM, can't forget about that. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about a team that's worth talking about. The Washington Commanders.
Oh, here we go. Let's go.
I was this close to giving them an A+. That's how we'll start this grade. I was this close. I decided to go A- when I kind of took a step back and looked at some games because, sure, it is impossible to overlook what they did this season and the cast of characters that did it. But what they did in the playoffs is that's what gets you to the next step. That's what takes you up a whole nother notch. What they did to the Lions, especially, just on the all year, that is the game to watch for the Commanders.
Yeah.
Unreal. Unreal what they did. And obviously you can go back and you could talk about the Hail Mary that kickstarted everything and just what Jaden Daniels has done all year and these signature victories that they had throughout this season. But that Lions game in the playoffs was unbelievable.
I just like I was so excited to talk about the Commanders, and I'm almost like speechless.
Yeah,
I like
they're unbelievable.
What an entertaining team! Absolutely no defensive secondary.
No,
What an entertaining
shout out Mike
team to watch.
Sainristil. Mike Sainristil was good.
Mikey Sainristil, you're right. But Emmanuel Forbes Jr., you can put him in the same bucket as Deontay Banks. That's a bust.
Yeah, and Marshawn Lattimore getting traded there and not playing for like multiple weeks kind of sucked as well.
I'm excited to see what he does like with a full season with the Commanders with Mikey Sainristil. But yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, but this team was unbelievably streaky. That's one thing to point out. Start off the year, you lose to the Bucks, you rip off 4 straight wins, you lose to the Ravens, which probably deservingly so. Then you rip off 3 straight wins against awful teams. 2 of them too close. Bears and Giants was too close. I will say that for sure. Then you lose to the Steelers, close one. You lose to the Eagles, you lose to the Cowboys. That Cowboys one, relatively inexcusable. Then you rip off 5 straight to finish the season, and you beat the Bucks redemption shot in the playoffs, and then you embarrass the Lions. And then you tried against the Eagles, I'll say that, but I mean Philly was a whole other monster.
Yeah. Just really entertaining team to watch. I want to run through Jaden Daniels' stats really quick because
they're unreal.
It's just fun. Yeah, so 3,568 passing yards, 25 touchdowns. But what I like is only 9 interceptions. He didn't get double digits there, which is really important to me, especially as a rookie quarterback too. And this is even crazier. His rushing stats. 891 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns. So essentially he was like over 4,000 yards by himself and had like 31 touchdowns. He also fumbled the ball 5 times and didn't lose a single one. And for a quarterback that's running the ball that much, that's very, very impressive.
Yes.
Yeah, just having your rushing leader be also your passing leader is just so impressive to me. We also got to see Terry McLaurin like play meaningful games.
Yep.
Kind of felt like, his whole career he's just a really good wide receiver that never really got the ball much, but now he was. And to kind of keep it with wide receivers too, De'Ami Brown coming alive late in the season was so much fun to watch, and he really helped out the team. Especially in their playoff run as well.
Yeah. I think McLaurin was just the perfect guy for Jaden Daniels this year. Zach Ertz was so good as well for just exactly what Jaden Daniels needed, which was a tight end that could just catch the ball and hold on to the ball. And Ertz did that.
Yeah.
And then just getting these random outstanding performances from De'Ami Brown, Noah Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus, like just the weirdest crop of other guys to get something out of. Now, the defense, a little bit off. We could say it. Their defense was pretty bad. But, like, Bobby Wagner was great. And Mike Sainristil was a hell of a second-round pick. And also, Dante Fowler decided to have 10.5 sacks in the 10th year of his career at age 30. That was insane.
Yeah. It would have been nice to see Jonathan Allen play more than 8 games, too. I know that, like, him and Daron Payne, like, we always kind of held to that standard that we probably shouldn't hold them to anymore, but they're still dogs at the end of the day. Maybe not like how they used to be, but
yeah. This defense
I'm sure
definitely could
having him
have
healthy would have made a difference.
Yeah, this defense definitely could have used a lot more turnovers. That's for sure as well. But honestly, getting those performances out of just a couple of guys, even Frankie Louvu had a pretty good year. Getting those performances out of these guys was just enough. I mean, they weren't going to win the Super Bowl, but it was enough to put him in some games they shouldn't have been in. That's what I'll say.
Definitely. Just to kind of run through some stats, they didn't have an 1,000-yard rusher, but they were third in rushing yards per game, seventh in total yards per game, fifth in points scored per game, which is really impressive. Their defensive stats are super telling. They were 30th in rushing yards against per game, which is kind of weird to me. Like I thought their rushing defense would be a lot better than their passing defense, but to their 30th in rushing yards against per game, they were third in passing yards against per game. Kind of weird there. I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah.
But like you said, no turnovers. They were 26th in interceptions, 11th in sacks, which is kind of meh. But overall, I just can't wait to see Aiden Daniels get older, and I can't wait to see like what weapons they give him throughout his career. I mean, Grayson, like you do realize that like in our lifetime, we have never seen a rookie quarterback season like this before.
Yeah.
Even
Nobody
going
has.
back, like
nobody has seen a rookie quarterback season like this.
No, you can go back to Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger, I think, just had one more win than Jaden Daniels, maybe?
Yeah, I think.
But Big Ben didn't have nearly the stats that Jaden Daniels put up this year. So, I mean, like, we saw, like, a career rookie season out of Jaden Daniels, and I'm just so glad that, you know, we got to be a part of it, kind of covering it along the way. It was so much fun.
It was unbelievable to watch week to week. And shout out to Ronnie for dropping Jaden Daniels after the draft and letting me pick him up for free off waivers. What a play by me. Thank you, Ronnie, for that. Yeah, the Commanders were such a fun story. And I think what's even better is like when you look to the future, Dan Quinn has a recipe for success here already.
Yep.
And on top of it, Cliff Kingsbury does not want to be a head coach again. So he could be your OC for a while.
Which is just broken. That is just broken.
Yeah, but also, like, Cliff Kingsbury, I don't blame him for not wanting to be a head coach again because, hand up, I was one of the people that is, you know, obviously he didn't hear what I was saying, but I was not helping. I showed, I certainly gave my opinions on Cliff Kingsbury as the head coach of the Cardinals, and then he went to, like, Thailand or whatever. He comes back, and something worked.
Yeah.
So I loved the Commanders this year. They were awesome, and I'm hoping that things continue to get better for them. They need a big draft.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Just a quick question. Do we think that the Commanders win this division next year?
It's it's
way too early, but like
the Eagles that we're about to talk about would tell you otherwise, I think.
Okay, let's get into it then.
Yeah, the Eagles, first place, 14 wins, and an A+ from me.
I don't think I ever gave my Commanders grade, but I gave them an A. You gave them an A minus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I gave them an A. But
the Eagles got my only A+.
from me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my
same.
only A+ of the year goes to the Eagles. Yeah, everything just kind of went their way. I mean, you picked up Saquon. He was unreal. Jalen Hurts didn't put up the passing numbers, but he had 14 rushing touchdowns and 62 first downs as a rusher, thanks to the tush push. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
What a find Zach Bond was. That's insane. Practice squad, like a special teamer out of New Orleans. And then also just hitting the grand slam, really, with offseason acquisitions. Saquon, Zach Bond, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. And then also you could throw in bringing back C.J. Gardner-Johnson as well. That was a great pickup, too.
I mean, he was fourth in tackles for them. And also, I like them, like, Nakobe Dean was drafted a couple of years ago, and he kind of just now got into their starting lineup. He was second in tackles for them this season. So shout out to Nakobe Dean, former Dog.
He was great. I mean, this whole defense was awesome. And like, this defense had no weak links, especially on the defensive line. Josh Sweat, Nolan Smith, Milton Williams, Jalen Carter, Brandon Graham, Bryce Huff, and like there was more guys. Jordan Davis as well was a good run stopper. It just kept going. They had the depth. They could rotate these guys in and out all they want. Now, a lot of these guys not going to be here next year, but this defensive line has the blueprint, and this defense has the blueprint. Shout out to Vic Fangio for what he did for this defense. I mean, unbelievable change year to year for the coaching of this team.
Yeah, and just to kind of back you up here, they didn't have a defensive stat higher than 13th. So
Wow.
second in points against per game, first in total yards against per game, first in passing yards against per game, 10th in rushing yards against per game, 13th in sacks, 12th in interceptions. They were hard to score against. I'll just say that.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost hard to find things to talk about for the Eagles because it was just so good all year. Now, in retrospect, that loss to the Falcons doesn't look good. And like
I
the
was
way
gonna bring
that
that
the
up.
Buccaneers manhandled them doesn't look good. But like,
Yep.
you can kind of respect the performance against the Commanders a little bit, especially when you bounce back and beat them 55-23 in the playoffs. But this playoff run was something else. I mean,
Yeah,
the Packers
it was.
game was awesome. The way that they just totally shut down the Packers in like every way they possibly could was awesome. The Rams game at least gave us some entertainment value. That's what I will say. I think we've talked about this before on the podcast. The Rams maybe win that game if it's not snowing.
Yes.
But that Commanders
Still hung on,
game,
still
yeah,
won.
the Eagles still hung on, still won. Then you got the Commanders game where they just blow them out of the water. And then the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is a blowout victory over the back-to-back champs. I mean, it literally does not get better than that. You couldn't have asked for a better team to play. I guarantee you, if the Chiefs wouldn't have made this Super Bowl and the Eagles would have won, people would have been like, yeah, but he didn't have to go through Mahomes. That's what they would have been saying.
Yeah.
But they did. They went through Mahomes. They went through Kelsey and Chris Jones and all of them and beat the fucking brakes off of them, too.
Yeah. Kind of going back to their offense, Jalen Hurts, he doesn't really throw the ball a lot, but that also means that he only threw 5 interceptions. He doesn't, he doesn't turn the ball over much. He actually lost as many fumbles as he had interceptions. I feel like that's kind of an interesting stat. What's even cooler, though, is Saquon Barkley. He rushed the ball 345 times. Obviously, Barkley 2K. But only 2 fumbles and only lost 1 of them?
Yeah.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. And he also hurdled somebody backwards, in case y'all forgot.
Oh, yeah. No, I when I found out about that, I was driving and I almost crashed. I was like, this is unbelievable. But yeah, just to kind of go through that story, my roommate and I, we drove to my grandparents' house and he's just on his phone. I'm driving. He just goes, Saquon Barkley just jumped over somebody backwards. And I was like, what? And he showed me the video while I was driving. And yeah, that's one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
It literally doesn't make sense. It's unbelievable.
No.
Everything about the Eagles this year was unbelievable.
I just don't understand.
What a division. What a division this is every year. The NFC Beast doesn't disappoint. I mean, sure, the Giants sucked and the Cowboys were whatever, but like the Commanders coming out of this.
Yeah, it almost makes me wonder how much more entertaining this division could have been if the Cowboys were healthy.
Yeah,
I mean, they would have been, competitive.
How much more entertaining it gets for years to come. I mean, the future looks pretty good.
Good point, yeah.
Especially if the Giants can pull something together.
Definitely.
I mean, even if the Giants are winning 7,
right?
Yeah, exactly. There's a cycle to everything. But even if the Giants are winning 7 games, that means that this division's going to be mixy.
Yeah.
It's
really interesting division.
It's a very fun one to watch. All right. Anything else for the NFC Beast and our final season grade of the year?
Oh man. I love reviewing these divisions, so
it's fun.
I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a division. These teams not only are they talented, but this is still one of those divisions where like there's a real hatred when these teams are playing against each other. And yeah, I love covering it.
Yeah, it was a blast. So before we go into the Premier League, make sure you guys tune in to the Draft Night Special next Thursday, April 24th, about 7:50 p.m. We'll be going live right here on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. You turn on post notifications so you know exactly when that live stream begins, and we will see you there in the comment section. All right, let's move on to the Premier League. And it's time for the Premier League. Luke's got a couple of headlines we're going to cover before we get into this stuff, but we've got a jam-packed week and then some midweek matches as well in the Prem. But let's start off with that news, Luke.
Yeah. Have you heard about the Moises Caicedo transfer news?
No.
This would be insane if this actually happens. But Moises Caicedo to Al Nassr is being rumored. I've seen it on a couple different accounts, but this is from a Chelsea account. So it would be $150 million euro fee. Sorry. And apparently Cristiano Ronaldo has held conversations with him to try to win him over to Al Nassr, which is just fucked. You know, just block that number for me, Caicedo, because if we lose him, I will be extremely heartbroken. But they would want to pay him $90K per week, which is just dumb money.
I'm so done entertaining the Saudi league.
But we have to talk about it. It's such like a big deal in soccer now, especially when it comes to taking our young players that are playing in Europe right now. But what's kind of convincing for this move, or for Caicedo in terms of this move, is it would be a 4-year deal, and he would be able to return to Europe at 27.
Yeah. Don't, please.
Please. Please don't. Just stay with the struggle bus that's Chelsea.
Because the problem is, the more the guys do it, the more they're going to keep offering it.
Yeah. Ange, the manager for Tottenham, sent this to you a couple days ago. He's kind of claiming that they have a leak.
Yeah.
At the Spurs camp, which is very interesting. I'm not really too sure. Yeah, just get rid of him. But
I've been saying it
I'm not
all
really
season.
too sure. Yeah. Like where this information like would really matter in soccer, like if you're leaking like lineups and stuff, I don't really get that. But
I guess it would be like tactics, but like let's be honest, everybody's gonna figure out your tactics.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Omar Marmoush, the new winter signing for Manchester City. He is still second in the Bundesliga this season in goals and assists, 25 combined. Yeah, and he hasn't played in the Bundesliga since January 14th. He is still behind Harry Kane, who has 34 goals and assists combined.
That's unbelievable.
Let's see what else I have. Chelsea have missed 73 chances, big chances this season, rather, which is the most of any Premier League side.
That's brutal.
By far. I also have a very cool graphic. Did I not save it? Oh, no, I didn't. Anyway, I saw this graphic that like pretty much broke up the table between like match days like 1 through 16 and then 16 through like whatever was played last weekend. Chelsea were second in the first half and then like 14th in the second half. So Chelsea are just like on a real struggle right now, and it's not really looking good for our Champions League hopes. And then the last bit of news that I have today, again, to make us feel old, Liverpool signed Virgil van Dijk 7 years ago today as we're recording.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
I guess actually the other bit of news that I have
Celtic?
or Southampton. But
Wait,
Celtic
really?
to start, yeah.
I forgot he was at Southampton. Oh, shit.
Sadio Mane as well.
Yeah, I knew he was there. Southampton always, they did that for a while. They would just throw out great players.
Yep. And then the other bit of news that I have is like obviously we know that Carlo Ancelotti is Carlo is going to be the manager of Brazil, which is very cool.
Yeah.
But it's looking like Jurgen Klopp could replace him at Real Madrid next year.
Yeah, that one's kind of crazy. Does it change anything?
I don't know. You have a lot. I mean, we'll get into Real Madrid. I'm gonna completely fucking grill them whenever we get into the Champions League section.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine that would be a very easy team to manage. Not only because it's Real Madrid and the expectations are so high, but like you have some of the most arrogant and cocky, like dare I say, uncoachable players on that team. So how do you even, if a manager like Carlo Ancelotti cannot instill tactics, which was 100% clear whenever they played Arsenal, especially in the second leg, like how can Jurgen Klopp do it? If Ancelotti can't do it, really nobody can.
Agreed. 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
I hate Real Madrid, so fine by me.
I'm kind of getting that way too, man. Like I've always sort of pulled for them, like especially like in El Clasico, but like they really are just kind of like there's a lot of reasons to not like Real Madrid.
Definitely.
Like the mentality over there is insane. Like they genuinely think that they're the only club like in the entire world, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's talk about these Premier League matches that we've got this weekend. It's not a great weekend when it comes to like moving around the table, like at least close games in the table, but obviously there's still kind of a gridlock here. Newcastle has luckily just embarrassed opponents recently. I mean, our last 3 matches, we have scored 12 and given up 1, which is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that has propelled us up to 59 points, and we are now in 3rd place by 2 points over Nottingham Forest, who have lost 2 straight matches. One of them, most recently, being to Everton. And now we're talking about 7th to 4th. Aston Villa tied on points with Chelsea. And then Man City at 55. Nottingham Forest at 57. It's a 3-point gap between Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest, which is 4th and 7th. Nottingham Forest in free fall right now with those 2 straight losses. You can't afford to have those right now. And then you go to the middle of the table, 8, 9, and 10, all at 48 points. All of them well within reach of potentially overtaking Chelsea or potentially Aston Villa, who's definitely on the upturn, but still a lot to look forward to in some of these matches. When it comes to just much needed wins for a lot of these teams. Brentford and Brighton, the first team on the schedule here, and this is one of those matches that kind of concerns everyone, mainly because these two are back-to-back in the table. They're both on pretty awful form, but there's still a 5-point gap between the two, 10th to 11th. Brighton obviously want the win, so they can stay up close with Villa and Chelsea and see how that sorts out. But Brentford, they're level on points with Crystal Palace and not too far ahead of Everton, Manchester United, Tottenham. So Brentford trying to stay away from those bottom teams coming up and taking them.
Yeah. This is a pretty interesting game. It's really big for both of these teams, kind of just for the reasons that you sort of gave there, but I'm not really liking Brentford's chances in this game. I think Brighton are a lot better right now.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing to me with Brighton is like, sure, they're not getting great results. But like the draw with Man City and the loss to Villa are like relatively excusable. The loss to Crystal Palace, a little bit less excusable, and then a draw with Leicester is not good. Just simply not good. But then Brentford, draw with Arsenal, draw with Chelsea, lost to Newcastle. That's not bad. You beat Bournemouth a couple weeks ago. You lost to Villa. I mean, that's as expected. A lot of these bad results they've had in these last 5 are ones they should have had. So I'm pulling for Brentford here.
Okay, I'm going to go 1-0 Brighton.
Okay, I'm going to go the inverse and go 1-0 Brentford.
Okay.
All right, the next one on the list, Crystal Palace and Bournemouth, another one relatively close in the table, but a 5-point gap between the two. Bournemouth, just like Brighton, trying to stay in the race with Aston Villa and Chelsea for that potential Conference League spot. And then, of course, Crystal Palace trying to fend off those lower teams and also potentially overtake Brentford this weekend with them taking on Brighton. So Palace in a tough spot because, you're coming off of a 5-0 embarrassment by Newcastle midweek, and you lost 5-2 to Man City. So the defense not looking sound, but when you go back past those two, you have that win against Brighton, and you have, the win over Ipswich and the draw with Southampton, which don't look great, but Crystal Palace, there's something there. I just think Bournemouth has a little bit more to go off of when you're pulling off the whole season, maybe not as much on recent form.
Definitely. Palace just have gotten to the point for me where I almost don't even feel comfortable talking about them. I don't know if they're going to lose 5-0.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to tie like a top 6 team, like 1-1. I have no idea what's going on with them.
Yeah, they'll pretty well do anything right now. I think I'm going to take Bournemouth 2-1 in this match.
I'm going to match you there. I like that.
All right, our next one on Saturday, we'll take a quick pick on this one. This one's going to be broadcasted in the U.S. as well. Everton and Man City. Everton's not on bad form, but what are we thinking? They're actually in pretty good form to their standards, at least.
I'm going to go big 1-1 draw.
Okay. I'm going to take Everton 1-0. Just not liking how City's playing right now. I know they thrashed Crystal Palace, but 0-0 with Man United and just 2-0 over Leicester, 2-2 with Brighton. I don't love those results for City right now.
Well, it could be hard with Omar Marmoush being one of the best players in the Bundesliga still. You got to watch out for that.
Yeah. Let's get a quick one on this, too. West Ham and Southampton.
I watched Southampton last week play Aston Villa. Give me West Ham by like 30.
Okay, yeah. West Ham's not been very good either, but they're playing some decent teams recently. I'll take West Ham 2-0.
I'm going to go West Ham 2-1.
Yeah. I would love for Southampton to finish the year at like -70 goal differential. Right now they're at -54.
That's very possible.
They literally have 10 points. They are 25 points out of safety.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What? If they don't win this match, they clinch relegation, right? Because there's
they not already clinched relegation?
Oh, yeah, they already have. What about Leicester? Leicester's got
18
points. Yeah, that's not happening.
No,
all three of those teams are
definitely
getting relegated. I don't even know why I'm thinking about this.
Yeah.
What an awful year for the teams that got promoted. This is actually a good matchup. Aston Villa and Newcastle, the two hottest teams in the Prem right now, going head to head. I guess technically I have to give Wolves their credit, but whatever. Newcastle, 5 straight wins. Feeling good, flying up the table right now. Blowing out opponents too, which makes me really happy. Like I mentioned, 12 goals to 1 in their last 3 matches. Aston Villa, though, 4 straight wins. 3-0 over Southampton, 2-1 over Nottingham Forest, 3-0 over Brighton, 1-0 over Brentford. These are teams that you like to win against. Newcastle's goal scoring has been unbelievable, and it's coming from all over. It's not just Isak right now.
Yeah, for sure. I think Newcastle probably end up blowing away Aston Villa too. That's what the signs are kind of pointing towards for me. I'm going to go 3-1 Newcastle, but something to watch forward going throughout the rest of the season, especially with that kind of middle of the pack being so close, is Villa doesn't have to worry about the midweek matches anymore because they're out of the Champions League. So who knows how that affects their form in the Premier League moving forward. But I think Newcastle probably gets them here. Newcastle are definitely the best team in the Premier League right now. Yeah,
I'm going to take Newcastle 3-1. We're rolling right now. I don't know if we can keep up the defensive side of the ball, but the goal scoring I think is going to keep coming. Just saying, don't count us out for second place. Only 4 points behind Arsenal right now.
Yeah, that's exciting.
That's a real thing that could happen. Let's just put that out there. Let's move on to Sunday's matches though. Fulham and Chelsea starting things off. That one you'll be able to watch on USA. What do you think, man? You sounded so confident about Chelsea earlier, so let's see what you got.
When did I sound confident about Chelsea?
No, you were just talking about them, which is probably more than they deserve at the moment.
Yeah. God, it's so bad. And then of course we have to play a London team at this stage in the Premier League season. It's yeah, I'm not confident at all. At all. It seems like we can't score goals. I mean, literally last week against fucking Ipswich Town at home, we had an own goal that still led us to a 2-2 draw. And thank God for Jadon Sancho, scored an absolute worldie in like the 78th minute to give us the tie there. So just I would say that we got lucky against Ipswich. I mean, it's brutal. Like where are we conceding 2 goals against Ipswich Town?
That's a problem. That is a huge problem.
It's a huge problem. I'm gonna let you give your score prediction first before I
yeah. I'm gonna take Fulham to win purely off the pattern.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Fulham 2-1 because they've gone loss win loss win loss win loss.
Oh no. Well, hopefully we can throw in a gray little D there. I'm gonna take 1-1.
Gray little D sounds off-putting to say the least. That heavily feared Ipswich team is taking on Arsenal at the same time. What do you think's going to happen there? I'd love a loss for Arsenal, but I don't see that one coming.
Yeah, I mean, you have a team that just knocked out Real Madrid, and then the other team has 4 wins in the Premier League. So
fantastic preview right there for that game.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Arsenal like 2-0.
I'm gonna go 1-0.
That's probably good.
I think they scored all their goals midweek.
Yeah,
I think they've been doing all their work elsewhere. Manchester United and Wolves could get interesting. I mean, Wolves, like I said, second hottest team in the Prem right now. 4 wins in a row, a draw right before that. They're killing it. It's just against the bad teams. But the funny thing is that Manchester United's one of them. They're coming off obviously getting thrashed by Newcastle. The draw was City. The loss to Nottingham Forest. Kind of getting the results they're expected to, as of now, at least with how the expectation is. You've never been more out of focus than you are right now, by the way. But Manchester United just struggling, and Wolves is hot. I mean, this win could draw them on points. Manchester United will still have the goal differential unless they lose by 8. But shout out to Wolves for getting themselves into a little bit better spot than they were, considering they had a mid-season firing.
Yeah, very true. I'm kind of feeling a 2-2 here. I think Manchester United's going to be riding some sort of high off their Europa League win against Lyon a couple hours ago. So yeah, I think it'll be a 2-2.
I'm going to take Manchester United to end the hot streak. I'm going to take Manchester United 1-0 over Wolves. Final game on Sunday, we got Leicester and Liverpool. What's the score going to be?
3-0 Liverpool.
Yeah, I'll go 2-0. They've just been kind of lacking when I watch Liverpool right now. Got a bunch of midweeks, so we'll hit these quick fire. Monday, Spurs, Nottingham Forest.
1-1.
Okay, I like that. Nottingham Forest not playing too well right now.
No.
I'll go 2-1 Nottingham Forest. Tuesday, Man City, Aston Villa. Quick turnaround for Villa.
2-1 Villa.
Okay. I'm gonna go 1-1 draw between the two. And then Wednesday, Arsenal versus Crystal Palace.
2-1 Palace.
I'm going 2-1 Arsenal.
That's my upset. Okay.
2-1 Arsenal there. All right. Well, that does it for the Prem. Do we want to hop straight into the Champions League, or are we going to take a quick intermission?
Oh my wait! I just saw that Newcastle plays Ipswich Town next week. Y'all lucky bastards. That's gonna be horrible for Ipswich Town.
We'll see.
Wow.
Got to think about this week first. All right, are we gonna hop straight into the Champions League?
Let's do it.
Okay,
Let's just do it.
Tuesday starts off with two matches that seemed out of reach. By the end of it, I mean, these guys had to be sweating a little bit. Dortmund wins 3-1 over Barcelona, but Barcelona advances 5-3 on aggregate. Meanwhile, Aston Villa beats PSG 3-2, and PSG advances 5-4 on aggregate. That's absurd, honestly. And what's crazier is that PSG went 2-0 up. PSG made this look insurmountable at one point. It was 5-1.
Yeah.
In the 27th minute. And then you get goals from Tielemans in the 34th, McGinn in the 55th, Konsa right back in the 57th. And then PSG turns up the defensive side of the ball and just totally shuts down everything Villa has for the last 20 minutes of this match.
Yeah, absolutely insane game. I completely understand why Ousmane Dembele didn't want to accept the man of the match, which he ended up having to take a picture with it, and his face just told the whole story there. But
yeah,
they still go through. So
yeah, big result for PSG to at least move on. And for Dortmund and Barcelona, I think Barcelona and Hansi Flick has been victim of this sometimes. Is when they're playing real hot, the defense can sometimes be an afterthought. And I think that's just what it was here. I mean, they knew, like, hey, if we just go in and do whatever, maybe we'll have a chance. I mean, they didn't really score a goal. They got an own goal from Ben Sabani. That was their one goal in this match, but they still won it by 2 on aggregate. But Guirassy with the hat trick started off with a penalty in the 11th minute. Had to at least have Barcelona sweating by the end.
definitely. For sure.
So that obviously serves for a hell of a semifinal matchup, which we'll talk in a moment. But then you go to Wednesday, Inter 2, Bayern Munich 2. Inter advances 4-3 on aggregate. And once again, it is extremely clear that the injuries to Bayern Munich's defense are just too much for them to have handled.
Yeah, I agree. But on the other side of the ball, the fact that Bayern was able to put 2 past Inter at the San Siro, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
And all the goals coming in that second half, too. Pretty small amount of time. I mean, 9 minutes, 3 goals were scored. You had Kane in the 52nd, Lautaro in the 58th, and then Benjamin Pavard in the 61st. Then Eric Dyer comes out in the 76th, but still not enough because Inter won it 2-1 in the first leg.
Whoa. I just realized that I'm going to totally butcher his name here, but Bayern Munich's left back, that Stanisic guy who pushed over the ball boy, wasn't even carded. He finished the game.
That is insane. I don't even know how that could happen.
Eden Hazard kicks a ball boy and he's immediately sent off. But that's wild. Absolutely wild.
That is kind of insane. But yeah, I mean, Bayern, it's tough with injuries to say that that's why they lost, because it was so close, and Inter is just not a goal-scoring team. So to see them put 4 past them in these 2 legs is a clear indication that the defense just was not there for Bayern. But at the same time, I mean, Inter plays extremely well, and they play a brand of soccer that you just don't really see anywhere else right now.
Yeah, they're very unique.
But props to Inter. I'm happy about it, honestly. And then the final one, the one to talk about for sure, is Arsenal 2, Real Madrid 1, and Arsenal advances 5-1 on aggregate.
Yeah.
How? What? And it could have been 3-1 if Saka didn't miss every important penalty in his career.
Very true. Yeah, I mean, the fact that we had Lewis Skelly taunting Madrid fans at the Bernabeu is just a sight that I did not expect to see.
No.
To say the least.
No. And you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about Ancelotti and how this team is just uncoachable. at times. This second leg was clearly that. Mbappe had nothing going for him. They were making passes to nobody. Nobody was making the runs. Like, it seemed like every tier of this team was on a different page. The defense knew what they wanted to do with one another. The midfielders didn't know what they were doing. The midfielders didn't know what the attackers were doing, and the attackers didn't know what the midfielders were doing. It was all out of whack. And I don't know if I can blame that on Carlo Ancelotti of all people.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right there. And to back up, I have a stat that I saw on CBS Sports Golasso, and Thierry Henry was kind of talking about it, but they did top 5 players in the Champions League this season who have covered the least amount of distance. 3 of them were Real Madrid players.
Unreal.
I think it was Rodrigo, Mbappe, and probably Vinicius, I would guess, but I can't really remember for sure.
Which is their entire front 3, by the way.
Which is their entire front 3, and that completely corroborates what you were saying. If your attackers aren't making runs, it's impossible. And on top of that, the players that aren't making runs are speedsters like Rodrigo, Mbappe, and Vinicius Jr. that aren't utilizing like one of their top traits.
Yes.
And for Bellingham at Cam, what the fuck is he supposed to do? Like, what is he supposed to do?
Yeah, especially when you have 2 relatively defensive-minded midfielders in there with you with Valverde and Tchouaméni. I mean, Valverde can get up the field and create. We know that. But, I mean, Tchouaméni is definitely a defensive-minded midfielder. So for Jude Bellingham to have no support from those attackers is awful. But also, none of the attackers are supporting each other. None of them could make a pass in behind. None of them could make a pass over the top on a run. It was just like they had no game plan at all as soon as they passed the halfway point.
Yeah, and you even had a couple Real Madrid players saying like, "Oh, we didn't have Joselu."
Get over it.
Get over it. You signed Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah.
But yeah, just and I want to give Kate Abdo credit because she was kind of the one who gave me the idea of them being tacticless. But it's just like the arrogance that surrounds Real Madrid from their owner to the players on the pitch is just insufferable. And we can even go back to kind of like go along with this with the whole like Ballon d'Or drama of like no Real Madrid players going. It's unbelievable, and it's finally caught up with them. And the fact that like you don't even seem to care going into this second leg to even defend your home stadium.
No.
And it's just, Real Madrid completely deserve to be out of the Champions League. And they're just in their own heads right now.
Yeah.
And I hope something gets fixed.
I think we should at least give our, before we move on from this, give some love to Arsenal for what they did in these 2 legs. I mean, it is unbelievable.
For sure.
That first leg.
I mean, you and I definitely counted them out.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. But with obviously hindsight is 2020. What Arsenal did in that first leg set up exactly what we saw here. If Arsenal doesn't embarrass Real Madrid at home, they're not winning this match. I know they won it straight up both times. They're not winning this match if they don't embarrass them at the at the Emirates. It's not going to go that way.
You're exactly right there. The last point that I want to make, this is completely off the topic, but for the first time in history of the Champions League, Grayson, 5 Polish players will be in the semifinal.
Nice. So well, that's a perfect segue to the semifinal matchups. We've got Arsenal and PSG. That is awesome.
Yeah.
With how these teams are both playing right now.
Yeah. If you would have asked me before we got to see Arsenal play Real Madrid, again, I would have said PSG all the way.
Yeah.
But now I'm not too sure.
Yeah, and with how Villa kind of brought things back with PSG.
Exactly.
Certainly makes things interesting. That match can be played on Tuesday, April 29th. Do we have any kind of prediction for leg 1? At the Emirates, by the way.
obvious biased Chelsea fan talking here. Declan Rice doesn't score free kicks like that often. I think the first one that he scored against Real Madrid was like his first free kick goal of like his career or something crazy like that. I'm probably gonna go PSG here.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw just because it's at the Emirates, but I think maybe PSG get it done at the Parc des Princes in the second leg.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 2-1 PSG at the Emirates. 2-2 at the Parc des Princes.
Okay. And then Wednesday, April 30th, Barcelona and Inter. I mean, this is literally offense versus defense.
Oh.
Can Inter stop Barcelona from scoring? And can Barcelona score against Inter?
Yeah, 2010 semifinal rematch.
Yeah.
For Inter and Barcelona as well.
Very different looks for these two squads since 2010.
Wow. Yeah, no, you're right. Where's the first game at?
The first game is in Barcelona at Camp Nou.
See, that Inter defense, though, man, like I feel like home or away, it really isn't going to matter. I'm going to go like 1-1 draw.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Barcelona 2-0 in leg one.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if Inter's going to be able to score like that. I know like they're coming off of scoring against Bayern, but where the state of that Bayern defense compared to the state of the Barcelona defense is totally different. Absolutely different. And what Barcelona offers with a healthy defense as well is extremely good. I'm not saying it's anywhere close to what Inter offers, but we've seen Barcelona go out and just score 5 goals against teams that they should not have been scoring that much against. And I'm not saying they're going to score 5, but I think 2 is reasonable for what this Barcelona team has been capable of throughout this entire campaign.
I think what Barcelona needs to watch out for, especially against Inter, is Inter have still proven that they can score goals. But you brought up the point earlier that sometimes Barcelona, like they have a good defense on paper, but sometimes tactically they forget to compensate, and help out their defense. So maybe, with Inter kind of playing like a 5-back formation and just sort of parking the bus, maybe Barcelona gets caught off guard by just throwing as many players as they can to kind of compensate by how many players Inter has in front of the ball. And, Lautaro Martinez can finish from anywhere on the pitch, so maybe Barcelona gets caught off guard there. But that's definitely something they're going to have to be careful of.
Yeah, and just to look ahead to leg 2, how do you think that this entire matchup ends up going? Who do you think takes it?
I don't know. I think in soccer, defense will still win the championship. So I think Inter probably wins on like a 3-2 aggregate.
So you're saying it's going to be an Inter versus PSG final?
I think so.
That is amazing. I'm gonna say Barcelona wins, and we'll get the Ousmane Dembele revenge final. And the Barcelona revenge against Barcelona revenge against PSG for ruining their club for multiple years.
Yeah, honestly, for the neutral fan, I don't want to say that Inter plays boring soccer, but PSG Barcelona in the final would be like ridiculously entertaining.
It really would be unbelievable. All right. Yeah. Anything else we need to touch on here for the Champions League?
It's just been awesome. Like I almost completely forgot that we had a totally different format to start the Champions League this season.
I'm going to be honest, as things have wind down, I kind of like the league stage looking back on it.
It's been amazing.
So we got to see these teams against a bunch of different teams and more games. They all played 8 games in the league phase.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I love the Champions League like this. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, really I think it's great. All right. I think it's that time. It is questions time. We got some questions from Nathan, and then I've also got 2 follow-ups that I'll add after this. But the title here is a question itself, directed to you. So I don't really know what this means, but it says, hey, look, what did Socrates always say?
Bucket we ball.
Gotcha. Okay. I thought,
Yeah.
yeah. After I read it, I was like, okay, now I know what he's talking about. Who do you think is on the right track to win AL and NL MVP? And who would be a league-wide MVP? Aaron Judge is the AL MVP.
Aaron Judge.
And certainly the league-wide MVP. NL, I mean, Tatis, Pete Alonso right now, which I hate to say. Trying to think of. I'm gonna pull up the stat leaders in the National League right now. I mean Tatis definitely makes the most sense. Tatis or Alonso is probably the way to go.
Yeah, probably those two.
But Judge is definitely the overall MVP at the moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Love this next question. What's your go-to Little Debbie snack? Sorry.
Oh, I'll actually have to look this up.
What? You don't just already know this?
I don't know the names of them.
I'm a Nutty Buddy guy. The peanut butter and chocolate wafer bars.
I looked up their website, and that was the first thing that popped up.
They're so good. So good. Also, don't sleep on Star Crunch. I know it's kind of like an old man one, but Star Crunches are pretty good.
Oh, yeah. For me, definitely the Swiss rolls. For sure.
Yeah, that's Nathan's go-to. Oh, yeah, also oatmeal cream pies. Duh. I don't know how I didn't immediately say that.
Another good one.
Oatmeal cream pies are right there. But specifically when you get the big ones. If you've ever gotten like the really big ones from like a gas station, those are unbelievable.
Yeah. You want to guess how long Little Debbie has been around?
I mean, I would have to guess like 80 years.
You're actually really close.
Oh, really? Nice.
1960.
Okay.
So roughly close there. I would have
65
imagined
years.
Like much earlier than 1960, but
yeah, I would say 80 is not close to 65 years.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
I mean, that was an egregious guess by me to say that they were founded in 1945. Now that I'm thinking about it, but you know,
yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty fat of me to just be like, "What's my go-to?" and then name 3.
No, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. They're good. They taste.
Oh, they're amazing. I could go on and on. I mean, zebra cakes are unbelievable.
Oh yes,
zebra cakes. Sure. I don't know why, but like Swiss rolls and Nutty Buddies ended up in the house all the time, but like zebra cakes were like once in a blue moon. My parents would buy those. They were unreal.
Oh my god!
What?
The honey buns.
Yeah, honey buns are great.
Those are up there too. Yeah.
Honey buns are great. Little Debbie's is unbelievable. They truly they know what they're doing. Shout out Deborah. Okay, besides Ohtani, who has the best chance to win an MVP in the next 5 years? Well, are we talking National League? I mean, okay, let's just take Ohtani and Judge both out of the conversation. Who wins the most MVPs in the next 5 years? Not Ohtani or Judge.
Wow.
I'm just totally taking this question however I'd like.
Tatis has to get like some eventually. Same with J-Rod. Same with Acuna.
I don't know about J-Rod.
I think
I don't know if he has to.
Yeah.
Once again, off to a slow
maybe
start.
Not J-Rod, but for sure. I don't know, who are you thinking?
It's really tough because guys emerge out of nowhere all the time.
Yeah.
I think Trout wins another. Is that crazy?
Ooh,
could Mike Trout win another?
I think that's a take.
I think Harper's gonna win another. Sure. I mean, I predicted him to win this year, but I think Harper wins another.
Yeah.
I think Acuna. Obviously,
think Kyle Tucker sneaks one.
I think Kyle Tucker could sneak one. It's just tougher in the NL. I mean, he couldn't even do it in the AL. Now he's got to deal with Shohei.
What about Jordan or Altuve?
Altuve's not winning another. Jordan's got a chance.
Yeah.
What about Corey Seager? Do we think Corey Seager still got good days ahead?
Yeah, but not MVP. I don't think.
Yeah, that's a fair take. Any pitchers you think might just sneak out at MVP? I mean, it hasn't happened in a long time, but
I mean, it's kind of hard to argue like either Hunter Green or Skeens. They look dominant.
Skeens seems like the one that would have the campaign backing him.
Yeah, everybody likes Paul Skeens.
Yeah, I think the only issue is that we're in such an offensive league right now. I mean, when Kershaw won his MVP, it wasn't the same as what we're looking at right now. It's very different.
True.
It's going to be very hard for any pitcher to win MVP. What's your biggest draft hot take for this year? I'm going to abstain from this one because me, Colin, and hopefully Mike, I still need to reach out to him about it, are doing draft night predictions on the podcast on Monday. So this one's all yours. What's your biggest draft hot take this year?
I still think that Shador is not going to get drafted in the first round.
Okay. I don't mind it. I saw an interesting thing of a guy saying that there will be 3 quarterbacks, running backs, and tight ends in the first round.
Who would be the third tight end?
Loveland,
Warren.
Okay,
and then
Warren and Loveland are the top 2. Then you're talking about Mason Taylor out of LSU, maybe Terrence Ferguson, maybe Elijah Arroyo. I don't know. It gets iffy. If somebody really wanted a tight end, maybe, but I think you just take him in the second round, in my opinion. I think the tight end is egregious.
Okay.
In running back, I'm also not sold on. But Travion Henderson definitely has some end of round 1 appeal. Obviously, Hampton and Ginty in round 1.
Yeah.
Hampton's
what about
not even obvious, but Travion Henderson
I'm totally blanking on his
and
name.
Quinshon Judkins have the most first round appeal.
Over the Iowa guy? I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, Caleb Johnson?
Oh my god. Yeah, I think he's over Judkins at least.
Not how it looks right now.
Interesting. And then the quarterbacks, Cam Ward, Jackson Dart.
Shador would be the other. I know, I get it. But also, have you been seeing the Gruden's QB camp?
Oh, the one with Leonard was really good.
Dude, I think Leonard has been the worst quarterback out of all of those.
Really? I haven't seen any of the other ones.
Seth Hennigan, I like him. Out of Memphis, I like him a lot. And also Will Howard maybe has me sold. Will Howard, somebody's got to be the Bo Nix of this class. I'll say that. I'm not saying Will Howard's going to be that guy. I'm just saying this is the week of the year where the mid-tier white quarterbacks start rising in stock. And I would just like to say that I would like it to be Will Howard or Seth Hennigan. Kyle McCord's episode was pretty good, but Will Howard and Seth Hennigan I like them. I like them a lot right now.
Dude, that's got to be more nerve-wracking than like interviewing with like a team's GM.
Yeah, you just have like John Gruden yelling in your face. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
So good. So good. But I'm going to abstain from draft hot takes until Monday's episode that you'll have to listen to. What was the last song you listened to that made you do a deep dive into an artist or genre? Nathan could not have asked this question at a better time.
Wow.
Because, so I've talked about this. I'm like relatively new to like country music in a way. Like I've only been a country music fan for probably 4 years. But like I've certainly done my fair share of listening. The most recent one, and it's tough because I do this every couple months where I go through some of the artists that I've liked, like a couple of their songs that I found, and I just add a shitload of their songs to my playlist, and then I just weed out the ones that I don't end up liking.
Yeah.
And right now I'm in the middle of doing that with Turnpike Troubadours, which their music is unbelievable. And they've been putting out bangers since like the mid 2000s.
Yeah, they've been around
over and over again. And the other one that I did it with recently was Treaty Oak Revival as well. They're another one that I recently made that jump with.
Okay, I got 4 for you.
Okay.
Chris Emeje, he's a reggaeton artist. Been loving his stuff recently. He does a great job.
Nice.
Been watching this TV show in Spanish called Elite, and they had an episode where this artist named Ambar Lucid came on, who is a Spanglish singer, kind of like Kali Uchis.
Yeah.
She makes really good music as well. A little classic Latin artist for you, Frankie Ruiz. His salsa stuff is like unbelievable. And then trying to think of who the 4th guy I was gonna mention was. Wow, totally blanking. Oh, 311. Have you ever heard of 311 before?
No.
They sing that like, "Whoa, amber is the color of your energy."
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, 311 makes really good music too.
Okay. Oh, also,
Yeah.
just like for fun, I've just been listening to "What the Helly" by Rob49, and that song is great. I love it. It's so
I
much
don't even
fun.
know what that is.
It's so much fun. I urge you to go listen to it and just like try and not think about the fact that it exists. Just listen to the music.
Okay.
Don't look at the lyrics. Just have fun. Go into it knowing like
Yeah.
you're not listening to this for your enjoyment. You're listening to it to just laugh, honestly.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say about "What the Helly" by Rob49.
Yeah.
Yeah, that song is, and he just did like an on the radar freestyle, and just instead of "What the Helly" it was "What the fucky." It's so funny. It's
Jesus.
outstanding. It is truly amazing. All right, last question from Nathan. You have been tasked with developing a new bat to make torpedo bats seem normal. The only bat rule is the only bat rule that is still in place is that the bat must be one solid piece of wood. So no more diameter. The bat just has to be a solid piece of wood.
Dual-wheeled bat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in a way, like, as long as if they were connected in some manner.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just double it up. Stack two bats on top of each other.
This way. Like, have them going like this.
Yeah, but you'd have no power.
That'd be pretty cool. There's more wood there to contact.
Sure, but
imagine someone hitting a home run like this.
That just
like
would not happen.
Home run.
Just can't.
Oh Lord.
I mean,
I don't even know.
Just use a cricket bat, I guess.
Yes, I was literally thinking the same thing actually. Yeah, cricket. Just widen or flatten the barrel.
Yeah, I mean, just
have it wider.
But keep like the hands part needs to be the same.
Yeah.
But it needs to be off of like a giant rounded surface.
Yeah.
Or like maybe like a ramp.
Yeah.
Because like you don't want to get on top of it. And that's the downside of it not being like flat. But like if you were able to just swing through the zone and it were to like just automatically get that high launch angle. But I guess it would roll back. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe
I literally have no clue.
Maybe just like a plank with handles inside. And you just
Yeah.
You just go straight at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, or here, just make the barrel like 5 inches in diameter.
Ooh, I actually have a good one.
Yeah.
Instead of keep the torpedo bat shape, but make the bat out of magnesium.
Well, it has to be a solid piece of wood.
Fire. Oh, fuck off. Oh,
yeah.
People use metal bats.
Not in Major League Baseball.
Really?
Oh, is this happening right now?
I think this might be happening right now.
Luke, nobody past college uses metal bats. Luke, there's no way.
Dude, it's been a bad week, y'all.
Hold on, no. We can't skip past this. I have to know. No, I have one question, and that is it about this topic.
Okay.
Who did you think in the MLB was using a metal bat?
Babe Ruth. I don't know. I genuinely have no words. I thought that like only like a certain like small amount of players, like there was some that were using metal.
No,
But that's like completely ridiculous now that I think about it, because like
only college baseball and high
Wow.
school, of course, and younger.
how many players use it in college baseball then? Because I feel like
All
that
of 'em.
transition could be weird.
All of them use metal.
Okay, so the transition must not be that weird.
Well, I mean,
then.
it certainly hurts some people.
Wow. I'm sorry, guys. That's a
That's so
Bad take.
crazy that you were like, you've been
Wow.
watching baseball all this time, and you just thought that like people were allowed to use metal bats. That's crazy. Wow. I'm amazed right now. What a
Lord.
find. Wow. You are so lucky that we are 2 hours and 10 minutes into this podcast and we made this realization.
Yeah, nobody's listening.
Wow. I mean, Nathan's listening, which is good.
Yeah. Oh,
This is gonna come up on the draft night special. I'm just telling you that right now. I have to publicly embarrass you in front of
Yeah.
Mike and Colin.
that's fine. Hey, Mike may not even know that.
Mike 100% knows that.
Well, okay, we'll test it then. We'll
Dude,
see.
no, Luke, I
We will
promise
see.
you, Luke, I promise you, I could ask 100 people, and none of them would think that there are metal bats used in the major leagues.
Yeah. At
Luke,
least
you've
20
been
people.
to baseball games in person. A number of
I
them.
thought it could be like a rare thing.
That's so crazy.
I mean, obviously, I at least knew that it was majority wood bat users, but I still thought that there were some guys that use metal.
No, that's insane. I can't believe this right
Damn.
now. Okay, well, fortunately, my two questions that I have are baseball related, but don't have to do with the equipment.
Thank God.
So, God, wow, this is crazy. I can't stop thinking about this. Okay, we're done. This was a crazy question thrown out there by a guy on Reddit. He said, with so many metrics that can determine what a good baseball player should look like, have we lost sight of what a baseball player should be from an entertainment or game point of view? So he's saying essentially, has numbers and just caring about analytics ruined the way that people watch baseball? So he added some follow-ups. How do you think that the rise of analytics in baseball has affected the game? Do you feel that the advanced metrics have made baseball more enjoyable to watch, or do they take some of the magic out of the game? For example, we know exactly how fast a pitch was thrown, or how much, or what the hitter's exit velocity contributes to their success, but has it changed how you experience the game for better or for worse? And do you find yourself more focused on numbers, or do you still prefer to rely on how a player looks in action?
That's a really good question. I think obviously I'm always going to prefer how a player looks in action, but like I
Yeah.
love baseball because of the metrics. I think
Exactly.
the metrics are really entertaining. And they also like contribute to how good that player is in a way that like no other sport can do.
Yeah,
So,
there is
that's my 2 cents.
always, for any part of a player's game, there is always a number you can find. There is always some kind of statistic that will tell. If you don't care about how a guy hits and you just want his fielding numbers, you can know that. If you want to know how his defense contributes to his value, you can find that. If you want to figure out a pitcher based on the pitches he throws against what everybody else throws, how good it is, Stuff Plus exists. Like, there is numbers out there for everything. And
Yeah.
I think that is the nice thing about how metrics have come through, is that for a long time, as a baseball fan, there was players you were fans of because of a certain thing. And now you can find those guys via the stats that support them.
Yeah.
Which I think is so much fun. And like, I think even adding to that, like Baseball Savant will show you, if you look at a player's season stats, it'll tell you a player who had similar numbers in a different year.
Yeah.
And so like finding that out and all of that, I think it's more fun. And like for me, I love the analytics, of course, and I've talked about it a lot. Like watching a game and having Baseball Savant to reference throughout a game is so much fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Getting that instant information is so cool. And then also it gives me another way to be a baseball fan. In a way, like I can obviously watch the games and be a fan of what's happening in the league, but I can also be a fan of the statistical part of the game and looking into that and appreciating those stats for what they are. I think it's made it better.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
The next one. Did removing the DH and making every team play every other team every year make the regular season boring?
No.
I think it did.
Really?
I think the split between the two leagues made the regular season mean so much. I'll say it hand up. Part of this is that why do the Braves have to play the Rays? Why do the Braves have to go at some point this year and play the Rockies? Well, the Rockies are in the National League. The Mariners, the Athletics, the Guardian, like whoever, the White Sox. If we would have, I would much rather watch a team play more division games. Not even just league games, division games. We only play 13 games against each division opponent now. And so those games just mean more. It ruined rivalries in a way, making these teams play out of the league. Yeah. And also taking the pitcher and how that matchup changes things. Taking the pitcher out of the lineup and putting in a DH for everybody, sure, it promotes offense. But at the same time, you can just trot out the same lineup every single day for 162 days of the year and you win. But there was a tactic to being like, oh, we have to go on the road and we're an AL team. We have to go on the road to a National League game. All right, this is going to be tough. Or, pre-1997, before interleague play, an AL team would go all season with a DH in the lineup, and they'd walk into the World Series in an away game against the National League because they lost the All-Star game, by the way, is how that would work. They go in on the first day of the World Series, and their pitcher has to hit for as long as he stays in the game. That's absurd, and it just makes things more interesting. Like, here's a fun fact. Barry Bonds played from 1986 to 2007 in the major leagues. He never played a game against the Cleveland Indians.
Wow.
Yeah. So he played 2,986 games in Major League Baseball. He played for the Pirates and the Giants, both in the National League. From 86 to 2007, he was in the league. Interleague play began in 1997, and the Giants did not face the Indians until June of 2005. But in that series, Barry Bonds didn't play. That is interesting. Like, that adds to the intrigue of not seeing these teams. Think about how much more unprepared the Dodgers or the Yankees are going into that World Series, when they literally have not seen one another. Or if you go back past 1997, haven't seen a single opponent that they have gone up against. That is insane. But I'm not saying take out interleague play. I'm just saying play more division games and play less interleague games.
Yeah, I can agree with the the more division games for sure, but like you got to think for people like me, being a Yankees fan out of, the realm of the NL and living in Georgia where the Braves play, I now am guaranteed to see like the Yankees play. Well, maybe not because sometimes the Braves might be in New York, but better chance that I can, go watch the Yankees play. So like
Sure.
you said it was the Cleveland Indians, right?
Yeah.
The Cleveland Indians and their fans never got to see one of the greatest MLB players of all time.
Get
It's
over
ridiculous.
it. I didn't get to see him either.
Yeah. Yeah. Why? Because you were like 2 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
But and then the whole DH thing, I think it's pretty cool. You have guys like Jordan and Brent Rooker that are just like fantastic DHs that we're guaranteed to see now. But it was interesting to see like some pitchers were great at
Max
hitting,
Fried.
like Jake Arrieta.
The final
Max
silver
Fried.
slugger for a pitcher ever.
Yeah.
Madison Bumgarner, unbelievable hitter. Jacob deGrom, unbelievable hitter.
Yeah.
Bartolo Colon hit a fucking home run. That's like the most iconic MLB moment of the last 20 years.
That is true.
And we lost it. All right. That's all I've got. But yeah, this was a fun episode. I mean, what a discovery
It was.
here in questions time. What a discovery.
I'm done talking about it.
It's unbelievable. Truly. And I'm going to try and not spoil it on like my Instagram story. I'm just going to say we made quite a discovery in questions time, but like this conversation is not over. We'll say that. Tune into the Draft Night Special on Thursday, April 24th to hear the rest of that conversation with more people to attack Luke for that absurd discovery we made. All right, guys. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. You turn on post notifications so you stay up to date with everything going on here. And, of course, the Draft Night Special on the 24th. And follow us on Instagram and TikTok to see everything we've got going on over there. If you're on the podcast platforms, rate 5 stars, give us a follow, and join the Second and Short subreddit r/2ndand short. Luke, anything for the people before we send them off into a wonderful weekend of pretty good weather?
Yes, I think I want to start a new series with this because Colin has the 3 words, 4 words?
No, Colin's pissing me off with that, and I vocalized it to him on this podcast before. He just stopped doing it, and he said he was going to do something new, and he keeps saying, "Oh, I'm working on something," which means he's not.
It's not
100% not. Nathan has been asking us trivia questions at the end of episodes, which is tricky because sometimes that, for me and Colin, that could turn into a 10-minute edition.
I'm gonna do 1 Spanish word a day that I want to teach our viewers.
All right.
Yeah. So here we have a verb, Grayson. I just recently learned this one. It's like in a lot of reggaeton songs. But we're gonna go perrear.
Okay.
Perrear. So you can say
Can you
it.
spell
like
that real quick?
perréame. Yes, that is PERREAR. An
Got
AR
it.
verb.
I'm glad you spelled it because I could have sworn you were starting with a B.
No, it's perrear. So
right.
You can also say perréame, but the verb means to grind or to dance or to twerk.
Nice.
So to use it in a sentence, you can be like, perréame, mommy.
Oh,
grind on me, mommy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
noted.
So we'll be back next week for another Spanish word.
I'm excited for you to do that live on the Draft Night Special. I will say that.
Oh, yeah, have to. Yeah.
All right. Beautiful weather this weekend. A lot of baseball to watch and Premier League to watch. And you look forward to that Draft Night Special next week. I know I am. I'll see you guys on Monday with Colin, maybe Mike, and Nathan. And me and Luke, we'll see you live on next Thursday on the Draft Night Special. Very excited.
It's going to be a long day.
Yes. All right. We'll see you guys then. Enjoy the weekend. Peace.
Peace.